Freedom fries and chocolate pudding, we got a good one for you tonight here on MU180.
With 5-time Emmy Award losing lead anchor Kevin Ellis, Marco Bichinich, weather, Zach Myers, sports, and your reporters from the field, Roberto Vaquero and Trayvon Wesley. It's MU180 at 7 o'clock.
Welcome to MU180 headquarters. I'm Kevin Ellis. Tonight we begin with an interesting and somewhat troubling story. We can report that a British rugby player lost his right testicle during a Super League Grand Final. The player by name is Mr. Paul Wood, with no relation to the Quidditch player Mr. Oliver Wood. He sustained the injury to his right nut during the first minute of the second half of the match. Despite this, he continued to play the rest of the second half. Man, that guy's got some balls, or ball for that matter. In Canadian news, 1/10 of the world's maple syrup was robbed by thieves earlier this month. The whereabouts of the robbers and the maple syrup are unknown. The $30 million of syrup was protected by only a fence and locks. Leave it to the Canadians for that one, guys. According to a statement from the Maple Syrup Federation, who protects the maple syrup, the warehouse where the syrup was stored was only checked up on every once in a while. Canadian police are on the investigation, so this means that the mystery will probably never get solved, guys. In local news, a Burmese python was spotted on 13th and Wells at 2 p.m. this afternoon. The python was believed to be unattended until a snake-like man with a black robe was spotted waving around a wooden stick at a wimpy-looking kid with a scar on his head. They put on quite the fireworks show and ended up destroying the 1300 block of Wells. The Milwaukee Police Department is on the lookout for these two individuals and the snake, as they appear to have disappeared in a black cloud of smoke. It is now time for this day in 1860. On this day in 1860, Mr. Ulysses S. Grant, Civil War hero and future President of the United States, purchased a prostitute. And, well, we had an evening of it. And that's your day in 1860. We now turn it on over to Mr. Kevin Landgraf, who is standing outside of the Sears Tower as we speak. Kevin.
Well, first of all, Kevin, it's the Willis Tower, and I'm standing here because we have a disturbed clown on the second floor of the tower threatening to jump.
Now, Kevin, I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. Did you say the second floor?
That's right, Kevin. He only made it to the second floor after he said he was afraid of heights.
Well, that seems to be preposterous, Kevin, if he plans on jumping.
That's exactly what I said, Kevin. We learned that he was initially going to be performing at a party on the 46th floor, but chickened out after he got onto the elevator. The police said that he began having a nervous breakdown and decided to take the stairs instead. He then decided that he had had enough and is now threatening to jump off the second floor.
Now, Kevin, I might not be an expert with this sort of thing, but would a fall like that kill him?
It just so happens, Kevin, that the onlookers, myself included, are waging bets as to whether he'll live through this ordeal. Oh, wait, I just heard something fall behind me. Never mind, it looks like someone threw a pizza very hard at the ground. Hold on. My producer here is telling me that that's the clown.
Well, it looks like my floor director over here owes me 50 bucks. Thank you, Kevin.
No, thank you, Kevin.
Now, don't go anywhere, because when we return, we will have Barney ride a jet ski through a ring of fire. Welcome back. Up next, we have our weatherman teach us about low pressure systems, hurricanes, and parking tickets. On over to you, Marco.
Good evening. Tonight's weather is brought to you by the new movie about a colony of ants that take over a family's backyard and destroy their entire property. Coming soon to a theater near you, it's Ant Holes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you may be surprised by the weather we've been having, especially if you watched my show last week. But now I'd like you all to turn your attention to the big weather map. The entire country is currently dominated by a large low-pressure system. You know, people often ask me, Marco, what is a low-pressure system? This is a low-pressure system. This is called a Canadian low. Now, overnight, it's going to break up into a series of smaller lows, and there's going to be one for everybody. Oh, and remember that Canadian low? Down there, that's what's called a Mexican high. Tonight's forecast, dark. The Friday night forecast, wow. Now, hurricane season is supposedly over, but one has nonetheless formed and is now going all Chris Brown on the Louisiana coast. Its name is Hurricane Max, and I like that because finally, the people who have these things have the gagoons to name a hurricane after somebody who sounds like they could really hurt you. because usually they have really wimpy names like Hurricane Terrence. It's hard to be afraid of a hurricane called Terrence. It sounds like a metrosexual hurricane. Like, hey, where are you headed? I might go to Boca, I might go to South Beach, I don't know. But we have a map of the hurricane, let's put it up. Oh, okay, this is Hurricane LeVar. The map is the entire southeast, and the orifice in the middle is Baton Rouge. I need to talk about something else before I soil myself. Yesterday, a giant windstorm in Kentucky created 3 huge tornadoes that ripped through the state and caused 1 fatality. Mitch Garham, who had lived in Trimble for 13 years, was killed when one of the tornadoes blew into the town, and a giant sign for a fisherman's supply shop called the Master Baiter, shaped like a mackerel, broke off and fell on him. He died instantly, 17 hours later, in the hospital. In England today, the Parliament issued a decree banning sunshine and comfortable warm breezes. Experts say this is a useless gesture, as neither of those has been seen in England ever. Despite this, several hundred Englishmen gathered to protest in front of the Parliament building, where police fired warning shots over the crowd in order to disperse them. No one was injured in the crowd, although the police did accidentally hit and kill 3 members of the royal family. It was pouring rain today in Athens, where Oregano Manouche was arrested after a 57-year-long manhunt. His trial, which is set for next week Thursday, will mark the only time in history an individual was brought before the World Court to answer for unpaid parking tickets. China was battered by storms today, delaying all air traffic throughout the country, which allowed Chinese police to bring in a man for questioning who is from Arizona. Mike Wazowski, age 71, claims to have fought in both Korea and Vietnam and, quote, just never made it home. Chinese officials, however, say that this is due to the fact that the fighting happened yesterday, and he will be sent to jail. Well, that's just about it for tonight, folks. Remember, if you don't like the weather, you can always move, and it'll always be sunny in Philadelphia.
Thank you, Marco. And have you ever wondered why there was never a sport called shackle? Well, wait no more, because Zach has it on this edition of the Sports Report.
Hi, I'm Zach Myers, and welcome to Fourth. We begin with baseball news on Friday. The first ever one-game series wildcard games took place. The St. Louis Cardinals beat the Atlanta Braves, and the Athletics beat the Rangers. During the Cardinals and Braves game, the umpires called a fly ball into the outfield to be an infield fly, causing outrage from the crowd. Fans littered the field and caused a 20-minute delay. After the game, it was discovered that Oprah was in attendance and paid all the fans to litter the field so that she could have enough time to go to the concession stand and order a large popcorn, pretzel, 3 hot dogs, cotton candy, peanuts and Cracker Jacks, and she didn't care if she ever came back. And then she recorded an episode on losing weight. After the wild card games finished, the NLDS and ALDS started, and not surprisingly, the Minnesota Twins will not be in the playoffs this year. In other baseball news, the Oakland Athletics decided not to open up the tarps of the upper deck of their stadium for the playoffs, fearing that cheaper seats may allow the Oakland Athletics to allow actual citizens of Oakland to come to the games. Moving over to football, RG3, rookie sensation for the Washington Redskins, was moved from the game on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. It is believed that Falcons have actually secretly hired Greg Williams, the old defensive coordinator for the Saints, to help them in vanquishing the opposing players. Yes, you did it. You were there, you sneaky man. It was actually me. On Sunday, the Indianapolis Colts beat the Green Bay Packers at a score of 30-27. In an unrelated note, the cockiness level of the students at Marquette University has gone down. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady reunited their longtime feud between the two. The two quarterbacks have had some amazing games against each other and have always proved to be a fantastic game. But as Tom Brady, age 35, and Peyton Manning, age 36, grow older, it is starting to turn into the old-timers game. And finally, my favorite part, I have for all of you this week's soon-to-be sport of the week. This week's sport is called shackle. Players play on individual teams against up to 3 more individuals. Individuals balance themselves on 1 foot and 1 hand. Players may move around as much as they please as long as only their 1 hand and 1 foot are the only parts of the body to touch the ground. They can use their other foot to push people over and use their hand to fulfill the final requirement of the game. Each contestant is given a piece of paper and must use their final hand to sign their full name on the paper. The first player to stay balanced and sign their name is the winner. If no player stays balanced, then the game is restarted. Now we'll send it on over to our directors who will be demonstrating Shackle. Well, I can't wait to rip off these clothes and go play me some Shackle. I'm Zach, and I'll see you next time on MU180. Back to you, Kevin.
Thank you, Zach. Now don't go anywhere, because when we return, we'll be joined by our special correspondents. Hello again. Right now we have Trayvon, who is in the field reporting on the recently discovered food that has stuck dining halls worse than the swine flu.
Hello, MU180, and I'm at the best dining hall in the Midwest, where we're going to be examining your favorite foods in your favorite ways on your favorite days.
We got some tasty specials on the menu. Went for some pizza that looks like it got blown up, and some cottage cheese with applesauce, and blueberry yogurt with noodles, and well, I think those are supposed to be meatballs.
I have some cottage cheese with raisins / ants, and I don't know. I'd say this lovely slug sandwich that we have here. It's still a little bit raw, which I kind of like it like that. You know, like the juices are still in there. It's like moist. It's pretty good. I don't know.
For the first couple of days, it didn't seem too bad, but then the food really starts to take a toll on your body, and you go from the dining hall to the restroom almost every single time.
Erin, can you tell me about your experience first time dining here?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad for the first couple of weeks, but then, I don't know. I mean, I used to be a happy person, but I think it's the food. I'm just in a slump. I don't know, it's just like a little bit sketchy. But I mean, I guess fungus is like good for you, so it's like an antibiotic is what I heard. So I mean it can't be that bad, right? I mean, you can't get this anywhere else.
And there you have it, in MU180. I'm your special correspondent, Trayvon Wesley, and you enjoy your night, better yet, your meal.
Thank you for the whistleblowing reporting, Trayvon. Gilberto is next with Kim Kardashian, Snooki, and other pristine celebrity women here in our greatest country on the world. On over to you, Gilberto.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm here today to address the serious topic of Sesame Street. Recently, Sesame Street and PBS were targeted by Republican nominee Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney pledged he would get rid of Big Bird. How heartbroken thousands of American children must be. Do you have nose cleaner thing? No? Okay. That show that taught them to count with a Dracula accent? 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. A show that taught a grumpy green trash can living creature thing? No, not Mitt. To be nice and maybe happy. I interviewed Mr. Elmo on the subject. He had not been aware of Mitt Romney's attack and fell into a severe depression after the interview. I attempted to cheer him up by buying him a goldfish, but the goldfish was put in salt water, and well, you can do the math. He could not be reached after that for further comment. On other national news, Snooki live tweeted while the last season of Jersey Shore began its unfortunate ending this past Thursday. She tweeted, "Oh my God, it's so weird seeing myself pregnant on TV." She apparently didn't understand the concept of TV adding 10 pounds. Except for yours truly, of course, natural beauty is not affected by mere HD cameras. Harry Potter fans have again uprised and began a war with Twilight fans over which series is better. It sparked up as the premiere of last Twilight movie rapidly approaches. The two series have nothing in common, one being about a very intelligent girl who is despair on whether to marry a sparkly vampire or a smexy werewolf, and the other being a magical world of wizards and fight between an evil wizard with no nose and a kid with a scar. It's like a bully movie, but with wands and gingers. This nerd war will hopefully cease to end as the last movie of the most coveted series in the history of literature, Twilight, comes out on DVD. So tomorrow. Bath salts has taken over Florida as yet again another incident has occurred. A woman who owns 20 cats had accidentally mixed bath salts with the cat's food. 2,036 bones that seemed to be gnawed off were found later that night. Well, this has been US of A in whatever time it took, and I'll see you guys next time on MU180. Have a guild-tastic day. Now back to you, Kevin.
Thank you, Gil. And thank you for joining us on MU180. We will be back after fall break to bring you our Halloween edition. In the meantime, stay classy and look sexy.